Hello everyone, I'm Connor, your host, and this is the Fowler Hour. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing Fiverr, Upwork, 99 Designs. Are they any good? Are they good for designers? Are they bad? Do they reduce your value? And hearing your thoughts and discussion. Let's get right into it. So, for everyone on Instagram joining us right now, if you've used sites such as Fiverr, 99 Designs, Freelancer, Upwork, or anything like that, please get in touch, leave us a comment, and I will answer it as we go. I'm just going to switch overlays because I missed that, duh. So let's get started. Let's just adjust that slightly. So basically I wanted to start this episode by talking about sites such as Fiverr and Freelancer and 99 Designs. Now they're all quite different. But they all aim to try and promote designers and get you as a designer work. Now, these particular sites are, in my opinion, most of them aren't great. I'm going to lead the show with that. They're not great. They provide some bonuses to new designers, but ultimately overall, they're not a healthy way to do business, and they're not a healthy way to grow a network of clients. So we're going to start with Fiverr, and I'm going to go through my show notes and we'll work up from there. Pull those up. Now, Fiverr is a site where you can get basically anything for $5. Now, that goes from things like copywriting to I'll write your CV for you, or your resume, or I will create a logo, or a banner, or a jingle for your podcast, for instance. And everything on there is $5, or slightly less, or slightly more. I've had a look, and kind of investigated them further today. Now, full disclosure, I did sign up for Fiverr at one point. Probably a year and a half ago, had a look at it, kind of set things up, and then actually got deeper into it, and just went, nah, this is not a positive way to find work. This is not going to make me feel good about my own work and not feel good about what I'm supplying as a designer. Because the way Fiverr works is you put out your job posting and you say, I will make you a logo for $5. And then from there, you just kind of let it out into the market and just see what happens. And more often than not, there will be someone else who A, can do it for cheaper, has better ratings and reviews, so you're not getting any work anyway. And then there are also people who just mass produce this stuff every single day. Or there are companies, in fact, on the other side of the world who are doing just that. And you can't compete. There's no... With that marketplace, the only way to compete is by being the cheapest. By offering the same service for cheaper. And at $5, you're already offering, like, a ridiculously cheap service. Like, I looked up today, because this really annoyed me. I was looking at minimum wage for the States and the UK. Now, I understand in the States, it's all over the place with different states and what job you do and etc. But on average, the minimum wage, for depending on what job you do, is $7. That's $7 an hour. So to make a logo for $5, that's like 45 minutes work. Which I'm sure many of you watching right now will understand with me that's almost physically not possible. Like, to go from the client's brief, which more often than not with these sites is a sentence or two sentences, to completion and delivery in 45 minutes. Like, thinking about what I could do in 45 minutes, I could probably do some seriously rough pencil sketches, maybe explore a couple of ideas, but I really don't think that 45 minutes of your time is enough to make a logo. And in the UK, that's even worse. If you're in the UK, minimum wage here, what did I write? I made some notes on this. So in the UK, minimum wage is about £7 an hour. It depends on your age, but it's about £7 an hour, which is about $9 an hour. So if I was to go on Fiverr to earn the same kind of money, $5 is £3.84, and that is, again, 45 minutes work. No, it's not even that. That's half an hour's work, so it's even less than if I did it from the States. Now, obviously the currencies and things like that completely change, because if you go to countries where, compared to the dollar, $5 is quite a lot of money in that economy, it can be quite profitable. But at the same time, you're not going to get the same quality of work as someone who puts 60 hours into your logo design, for instance. So what basically, I really don't think Fiverr's worth your time. Like, to sign up for it, to get your account at any kind of level to compete with who is already on top. In fact, as far as I'm aware, there are accounts who pay to be at the top. So they've cornered the market, essentially. And then you're working for 45 minutes equivalent to make a logo design, which, unless you're using the same template over and over and just changing people's text, I really don't think it's an effective way to make good design. And then there's the whole thing of, again, something else that I came across is that there's been lots of reports of Fiverr allowing people to steal artwork and allowing copyright infringements to be taken. So I came across some accounts today that were basically all using the same artwork for their profile image. So they'd have like a spread of logos on some paper, like all laid out, and then someone else would zoom that picture in ever so slightly, crop it down, and then have that as their one. So what they're doing is, by trying to show exactly the same content, they know exactly who is using that site, because they know that, oh, this person's using this profile image, clearly it's getting clicks, let's use that as well. And then they pay to be at the top. So unless you're already in the system, I really don't think it's A, a good use of your time, and B, the actual likelihood of you getting work from it, regardless of how small the commission is for it, is fairly slim, because someone's already beaten you to the punch, and it's going to take you the next 6 months to get to the top, unless you pay someone else to fill out reviews for you, which again is a bit unethical. Now, with the stolen artwork, it's not just logos. There are people on Fiverr. I'm not sure how many. This is quite an old post, but they might have changed the rules by now. I'm only going off the sources I found. That there were people offering $5 services to remove watermarks. Now, watermarks are copyright, and by doing that, you're effectively stealing the work. And this came apparent with other people trying to sell logos on Fiverr. There was someone using, I think it's the Grammys, I think, or the Oscars. They're using their logo, putting some new text underneath and saying, hey, this is a logo I made, trying to clearly go get people's association and go, oh, I've seen that before, that looks really cool, someone made this for $5? When they clearly didn't, and it's very misleading. So, again, if anyone in the chat has used Fiverr or 99 Designs or Upwork or any sites like this, please leave a message in the comments, and I want to have a discussion with you guys. I want to hear what you guys think about this kind of site. And whether you've used them, basically. Feel free to come at me with an anti-argument to me saying they're bad. And yeah, so basically, Fiverr is the £1 shop or the $1 store of the online design world. You get, what you find in those stores is mass-produced. It's generally cheap and rough around the edges, and that's exactly what you will get from someone who has spent $5 on a logo. It'll either be mass-produced, or it'll be rough. It won't follow any kind of system. It won't really fit with your needs. It will just be a stamp. It just won't be worth your time. Like, it's worth about as much. It's literally, you get what you pay for, and $5 is not enough for a logo design or any kind of design work for that matter. I don't think, because of the amount of effort that is involved with even turning your computer on, how much electricity that uses. Like, unless you're doing 2 an hour, that's only $10 an hour, which is only just above minimum wage. Like, there are only so many things you can do in a day, only so many designs you could do in a day, and it's just the profit and the actual money that would be coming into your account based on how much you'd be spending trying to get these jobs, and cost of electricity or heating or air conditioning in your house. It probably balances out to may as well have minimum wage job. Like, and some people are happy with that. Some people would be happy having that kind of money in their life, which is fine. I'm all for people aiming for whatever makes them happy, but Fiverr undervalues and makes a designer, as I've seen, made me feel undervalued. It made me feel that my work wasn't worth anything, basically. Because for many people, they'll spend $5 on a cup of coffee in the morning, and that's saying that something that represents their brand image, their company, for potentially years upon years, which is what a timeless mark creates, an actual full logo design creates. It just doesn't line up. But at the same time, the people going to this site for Fiverr are wanting and may only be able to afford this budget service. And all for it. Like, it's not affecting my clients. I've even had people come from Fiverr saying they really didn't provide what I wanted. I need to pay for a professional to do this, to create me a logo design, to provide this service. Can you help? And I say, yeah, of course. But it does cost this because of the effort and the work involved. And personally, rather than working on sites like Fiverr and setting up an account and being effectively a machine, you become a logo factory, I would spend that time elsewhere. I would spend that time trying to build a following of some kind, so you can show your work off to the world rather than just people who are already going to only spend $5. And we'll get on to other practices that I think you'd be better off spending your time on in a bit. Hi DB14, I am from the UK. I'm from down south, near Southampton. Feel free to send me a DM if you want to chat more. Hi everyone joining the chat. We're discussing design sites such as Fiverr and 99 Designs and their good and bad points. If you've used any of these sites and have an experience with them, please feel free to leave a comment and I will get to it. So, logo designs don't have a fixed price, but it's based on your time and the work and what it's actually worth, what the value is to the client. $5 is not enough. $5 is a silly amount of money to even consider. Right, the next site. So after going to Fiverr, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole, pulling up loads of different sites. So Fiverr is what we're going to label the $1 shop of the design world. It's the $1 online shop. It's going to be rough. It's going to be someone's not going to have. It's going to be mass produced, and no one's going to really pay that much attention to it. They're just trying to churn it out to keep the cost per hour down as much as possible. There's no attention to detail. So effectively, it's called a gig site, which for some things could be good. Build your portfolio. If you can get the work, maybe building a portfolio, cool. I personally would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like, So, the next site I went to was 99 Designs. Now, 99 Designs is different to Fiverr because it's a contest site, largely. And a contest site is one where a client will pitch a job. They'll say, I'd like a lion head in a shield, for instance. And they go, put it out into the website. They put a time frame. They put a budget for how much they can spend. And they basically sit back and go, cool, let's get some proposals in, guys. And as many people as they want to, people can post proposal logos for the client, which is spec work. You're working for free for potentially no return. Now, if you want to have a bit of fun, you want to go to 99 Designs and look at all the briefs that are available and use them for practice and just kind of submit it and see and hope, I think that's a positive for that kind of site. There is potential for you to gain something from it other than your own skill and practice, but it doesn't making designers kind of throw their work down on the table amongst a pile that people just sift through doesn't breed like a healthy business. What it means is you end up basically dogfighting amongst designers, will fight amongst themselves, and people will copy designs from another person, tweak them, make them better, and then just repost it. So they've effectively stolen someone else's idea, and then they'll potentially benefit from it. And it becomes basically like trying to cannibalize whoever has the best idea to make it better, to then get the job. And if you like potentially working for free and building up practice ideas, go for it. 99 Designs is probably a pretty good place for you. But I would never suggest that as someone's income. Again, this is going to be the reoccurring theme. I would never suggest these sites, Fiverr, 99 Designs, etc., etc. I would never suggest these sites to be your main source of income, because they're so hit and miss. You have no control. You literally have, you can put your work out onto Instagram and things like that, and people can contact you, and you can kind of interact with them. You can discuss what their needs are. You can spend time getting to know their business, and they've actually come to you, or you've seeked them out with a proposal. Therefore, you have a direct contact, a one-on-one. Whereas a client on 99 Designs is looking down from their client throne, for instance, looking down at these designers and going, without any kind of recognition of the designer wanting to put the effort in to understand the company that they come from and understand the person and the client, they're literally presenting their best work to the table and going, please pick me, kind of like Oliver. if you know that kind of site, if you know that movie Oliver, you'll know exactly what scene I'm talking about. And basically, there's no guarantee for you to get money. There's no guarantee for you to get paid for the work you do. The client, from what I've seen of 99 Designs, can rate your design before they've even selected a winner, meaning you get a minor confirmation or decline to start with, and then they go, oh, if you just tweaked that, maybe it'll be a 5-star. You've already done work for free, and then they want more work for and oh, it's something that when I first started these sites, originally I was like, you know what, it's a great place to start. Let's head on down here and then go for some quick cash, potentially, if I got anywhere with it. And it became this idea that I could spend my time better on other methods of exploring the ability to get clients, or other methods of showing off my best work. And basically these design bidding sites quickly kind of flew under my radar, because the people heading to these sites, the clients going to these sites, aren't looking for a tailored service, which is something I try and offer with every single one of my clients, is I will take the time of day to get up at silly o'clock in the morning because they live on the other side of the world to call them. I will send them a detailed questionnaire to understand as much of their business as possible. And these are things you just don't get from Fiverr and 99 Designs. You don't have that interaction. You get the brief, you get a budget, you get a time frame, and you get potentially a list of modifications to do. And potentially not get paid for anything. Which at the end of the day, if you do design work for a client, you should get paid. I mean, there are opportunities that come by where you might do something for free to get yourself a leg up, to get your foot in the door. For instance, if you want to go to work at an agency, you might go to them and be like, I will do email blasts and infographics for you for 6 months for free. Cool, they'll probably give you an internship. Or they may give you an internship if you email 50 agencies. But to go in with the intention of trying to get... There's an actual job here. And then for you to do the work for it and not get paid seems a little... It seems off. It doesn't breed positivity within yourself because you end up undervaluing, going, oh, goodness me, what did the winner of this contest do that I didn't? What did James Brown, designer, do with his lion head that I didn't? And then you end up questioning your own ability, and it becomes this downward spiral of your work isn't good enough, and then you start to make bad work because you're feeling that way, and it goes down from there. Now, some people have great success stories from these sites, and that's excellent. Good on them. But I personally can't see how sites like 99 Designs, where there's no communication really, there's no personal touch, there's no there is professionalism, but there's not the one-on-one approach that I try and give with my clients on these sites. It's very much like it's a machine. It's very much, I'm gonna put my $100 in the machine and pull the lever and see what comes out. Which I don't think is a practical, good way of building your design business. But on the positive for contest site, it's a great way to look at briefs. It's a great way to practice things that actual clients want. Don't have to submit to it, but if you've got the time and you need more work in your portfolio and you're struggling to come up with your own ideas, I think it's a really cool way to discover what a client might ask for. So, next site. So, off the back of... Actually, let's just go through the chat for a second. B1B, Pinterest. Pinterest is basically... it's basically Tumblr, but for images that are linked back to source. Pinterest is great for linking things together and building boards. So if you want an inspiration board or you want to post your own work to Pinterest, it's a great way to get the links through. So for instance, when I've rebuilt my site, if I put a photo on my blog, I will put that photo or that design on Pinterest and it will link back to my blog. So you get people going back and forth. It's a great way to be discovered by new potential clients. Right. So, 2 questions from Irvin Moore 3 and Noreen, I'm going to say. Sorry if I mispronounced your names, anyone. What would I suggest? So, what I would suggest, instead of spending 6 months of your time working to try and push your account on these sites, is create the portfolio work. So create logo designs, create case studies, create infographics, make up companies, make up designs, make up anything that can be put onto a case study, for instance, or a portfolio. You can literally look online and look at other people's portfolios and case studies on Behance and things like that, and then make your own, pull your ideas all in together, make a lovely little portfolio, and then put it out there. Put it out on your own website, run a blog talking about your design work and things in the design community that interest you. Post on Instagram regularly and other social platforms like Twitter and Facebook. And try and build your following and show off your work to as many people as you can on sites where clients go that you want. So, with things like Behance and Dribbble, these are very professional level graphic designers usually. And they will post case studies for the jobs that they've done. And if a client's looking for a logo designer, for instance, all they can do is they can type in logo design case study, or brand case study, or engineer case study, or engineering logo, or something like that. Animal logos. And they'll go through, and they are more often than not clients willing to, well, not willing, but who understand that the service a logo designer and graphic designer provides is worth more than $5. The sites I would suggest using are Behance for big projects like case studies. If you can get an invite to Dribbble. Dribbble is great for one shots. It's great for the highlight of the case study, the best logo from your set, your best concept idea. That's a great community for people who want to see things quickly. Behance is a little bit more in depth, takes a little bit longer to search through things to find full blocks of work and portfolios, but that's an excellent way to attract clients who may be of a higher caliber than those that go to, let's not say that, not higher caliber, those who understand that the services you provide are worth more than $5. Yep, they may not be, are worth more than $5. And that's where I would start. I would start by making your work on all these sites and platforms and pushing that content as much as you can. And eventually, it can take time, it can take 6 months, you may not get work immediately, but it could take a year, etc. It's taken me a year and a half to get to where I am. And I would use those social sites to build a following, which then shows your work off to more people. Through Instagram, through the Explore tabs, you can basically, people can find you. Your work appears on their feed, and they go, oh, actually, I'd quite like a new logo. Let's head there and let's kind of shoot this guy an email instead of heading to Fiverr or whatever site they were going to go to. And it's a great way to build an actual network rather than just getting these one hits of cash money, for instance. Rather than getting paid in hits, you're getting paid in actual, your time is more valued often, and you're talking with clients who then might refer you to other people, which is an excellent way to build your business. I personally don't use any of the sites that are Fiverr, Design Hill, Upwork, Freelancer, etc. because of that reason. I don't find that the growth you could get for your business is long term. I think it's a very short-term solution for cash flow, which ultimately will damage you as a designer and your business. I would personally spend the time building up your portfolio and putting it out on these sites and going, hey, I'm out here doing my thing, doing the best that I can. This is my work. If you're interested in working with me, I'd be more than happy to. Please send me a message. And so far, I found that works. So, if you've got any questions, Instagram, YouTube, hey JR and Barrett on YouTube. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I understand some of you guys might be using these sites. Feel free to challenge me. Let's have a discussion. But yeah, we're going to move on to the next site. So basically, I'm working from the site I liked the least, Fiverr. Didn't like it. And we're going to work towards sites that have, in my opinion, better options for designers and are more professional because of that. So after 99 Designs, I found a site called Design Hill. Design Hill basically offers the same stuff as 99 Designs, but they also have a one-on-one service. So basically, email. So you put your account up on Design Hill and you say, this is what I do, here's my portfolio. You kind of set up a LinkedIn profile, basically your resume and your portfolio on Design Hill. And when someone's looking for a one-on-one job, they put in categories they're looking for, and the site will suggest designers who you can contact about your job, about the client and their particular job, if it's a logo or a banner or a poster, etc. And that gets you a one-on-one access with them, so you can build the relationship, you can understand more about the project, etc. But the site still uses contests. And because of that, I looked through the categories and I still didn't see how one-on-one on a site that offers contests, one-on-one services would actually be used. Because if you're offering a contest where you can see proposals from 10 to 100 designers at any one time, you end up going, well, why would I bother waiting for all of these people, this one particular designer? Why would I go one-on-one when I can get 50 proposals come in all at once and I can pick through which ones I like the most? To me, that option, regardless of the money, if that option is available on this kind of site, I would steer well clear of it, because someone will have already cornered that market, and it's not a great way to build your business. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's so short term and there's so much luck involved. Like, regardless of your skill level, someone could just pinch your idea, tweak it slightly, and repost it. There's no... It very, very, very much undervalues your work. And it's... People using this kind of site are very much looking for a quick solution that, in all honesty, requires someone like myself or yourself watching a logo or listening, a logo designer or a graphic designer or a copywriter or a book cover artist. These people going to the sites and these clients are not usually the kind of clients you're looking for. Not the clients I'm looking for, in my opinion. People using these sites often want a cheap, quick solution to a problem that really requires some serious time and attention. To understand the client's needs requires time, requires a discussion, requires a questionnaire, requires time and effort to be put in to actually understand what they need. Not specifically just what they want, what the client needs to ensure that the work you provide them lasts a long time. Or solves the problem that they need to solve. Which in many cases could be, we need a logo. We're a startup, we need a logo. Okay, do you want this logo to last you 6 months, or do you want this logo to last you the next 50 years you're in business? To become a brand identity that people recognize when they see it on a billboard, on the back of an Uber, on a paper bag. And that's the difference between this site and the service you can provide as a professional. Not to say the people working these sites aren't professionals, but the artwork you will be finding on that site is mass produced and comes out really, really quickly. Okay, Joe Kennedy in the chat. I'm currently on... Thank you for leaving your comment, by the way. I'm currently on 99 Designs. What's your opinion on that? I'm looking for work left, right, and centre, but this is my only option. Why is it your only option, Joe? Why is 99 Designs your only option? Are you working? Do you have another job? Do you have... Why is that the only option for you right now? Do you need cash flow immediately? Is it a bread on the table type scenario, or are you unsure of where to go to find other work? Let me know in the comments. So Design Hill offers that one-on-one service as well as contests, but I don't see why a client or anyone going to that site would use that service. If they had a bad experience using the contests, maybe they'll turn to that. But I can't see why. Thinking if I went out into the world, and I know this is not the way I would look for a graphic designer or a logo designer because I understand the business, but if I go out as the average Joe looking for a design, I'll go, you know what, I need something kind of quick. I've got a little budget. Oh, this site offers the chance for me to have like 25 people propose a logo. Sweet. $50. 40 logos come in. Wow, that's incredible. Here I can pick one. There's no explanation. It's very much a lottery, and that might feel great for the client, and you might feel great in the short term getting that $50, but that $50 in the long term and that time you spent potentially not getting anything could have been spent elsewhere, in my opinion. This is very much in my opinion. If you want to use those sites, by all means, I encourage you to build your business however you see fit. But I personally don't think these sites are at all good. I've got a question from JR on YouTube. Do you receive the majority of your work through Instagram inquiries? And question from BB on chat. Do you use a Wacom? I have one. I don't really use it. I prefer mouse and keyboard. It's a bit more precise. But there are plenty of people out there who use them. They're great tools. And JR, do you receive the majority of your work through Instagram inquiries? I receive a large portion of it through Instagram. It's not all of it at all. I also have clients going through my website and contacting me through other social media platforms and through referrals. And referrals are great because they come from previous clients who have then, as the word suggests, been referred to their friends. So their friends have gone, hey, Connor made a really cool business card for me. Go and check him out. This is his thing. And it also comes from networking with other people and getting in touch with other people in different industries and saying, hey, this is what I do. If you get someone who comes to you and needs a website, for instance, and they don't have a logo or any branding, feel free to let me know. If there's anything that comes across your way that you think I might be able to work with or work with you on. And yes, social media is a great way of getting work, but you have to diversify. You have to spread your wings out a bit and go to different platforms. But at the same time, I would still avoid these kind of sites. I hope that answers your question, JR. I'm going to take another quick dive to talk to Joe again. I'm just starting out in graphic design, currently part-time work on the weekend, and unsure where to find work or how to start off a career in graphic design. Now, Joe, I don't know what your work's like at all. I haven't seen it. I'm sure I'll go and check it out, or feel free to DM me some of your work and I'll go a bit more in depth with you if you want. I am basically only just starting out in graphic design as well, and I've been doing it 6 years. So my career has been almost 2 years now, and I've only been doing this full time since January. So you have to have a little bit more patience, my man. Just focus a little bit more on, because I was in the same situation as you. I worked part-time at a supermarket and then completely burnt myself out for 6 to 8 months making designs, making something every single day and putting it out on Instagram. Every single day. And I burnt out like so hard. But it paid off and I was able to leave that job and build this business full time. I would start by doing what I've said previously, which is go to Behance, try and get a dribble invite, build a following on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, post as much content as you can, be consistent with it. I'm going to make an infographic for this, by the way, and it's going to be up on all of my other platforms very soon because I want to get this written down. Be consistent with when you post. Be consistent with your content. Try and make sure your content is tailored to that audience. Make sure you are building a portfolio and putting your work on sites that clients go and look at it. Spending your time going through 99 Designs and Fiverr and effectively spending half your time looking, half your time waiting, and then half the time working for free doesn't seem proactive to me. You'd be better off taking a more patient approach, building your following, and then getting your work seen by other people. Ask for critical feedback from other designers. Interact with them on social media. That's how you build a following. And that's how I have shown my work off to more of the world than I did this time last year. And now I do this full time. So, Joe, feel free to send me a DM to talk more about this, but I hope that answers your question in briefly. So, we're going to then move on. So, currently I've spoken about Fiverr, 99 Designs, and Design Hill. So, we've kind of gone from $5 up to contests, and now Design Hill is contests plus one-on-one, and now we're going to talk about Upwork and Freelancer. Now, these sites are interesting to me because they don't outwardly have any big red flags to me, but I can see kind of the breakdown, having had I had about an hour look through these sites earlier today, and on more face value, there are some red flags that I've started to see crop up. These Upwork and Freelancer focus largely on clients inviting designers to consider their brief and then work with them. So effectively, the client goes out, they put their brief up on Upwork or Freelancer, and then it suggests designers who might fit their brief and their budget. Now, this could be 100 people, this could be one person. You don't know. You don't know who you're being shown to. But what these sites do effectively is help narrow down the search for some clients. Because I'm sure, just as Joe said, he doesn't know where to start with his graphic design career, or he's just starting out, these clients might not understand the process and the services available to them other than a quick Google search. Just because you know the graphic design agencies and industry inside and out doesn't mean that everybody does, and you have to always be aware of that when dealing with new clients. So Upwork and Freelancer, basically, you put up what is effectively a profile, you upload your work to it, you put in tags and your budgets usually for projects, and then you, as a profile, are suggested to potential clients. They then ask whether you're free and whether you'd like to work with them on this, and you can say yes or no. Which is an improvement on contests, because it means clients are being shown targeted designers who already have portfolios of work and therefore are not working for free, are not doing spec work for the potential of winning. Yeah, they are not... Oh, 1 second. Alright, okay. Just got about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes left. Okay. So, with Upwork and Freelancer, you make your profile, shown to other clients, and then it basically brings them together, which is great. But the site still has contests. Like, it's a running theme. Like, there are good points to all of these sites, apart from Fiverr maybe, but there are good points to almost all of these sites. But they just suddenly outweigh that with so much negative when you go, by the way, we're going to run a contest. Do you want to make a logo along with 60 other people and probably not get paid for it? It goes back to my point of, if a client's heading to that site, I don't see why they would spend the time to look harder. Does that make sense? If they're unsure of the services available, if they're unsure, or they outright know what the services are and are not willing to to pay someone, or I don't have the budget to. Contests for a client are super positive because they get to see a lot of things for free, and then they get to pick one and potentially change things about it, which for the client is a super positive. But at the same time, the work they get isn't great, and they get the product, like the product. I hate calling logos products, but because they're not, they're a service. But in their eyes, they might see it as a product rather than a service, and by that you get a very off-the-shelf approach, which devalues the creative person behind the designs. Thanks for all the hearts in the chat, guys. Hi on YouTube. We've got 6 people watching. That's more than ever. Woo! And live, hello everyone in the chat. I think there's 10 people, but I don't know. Pipe up, send me a hello. If you've got any questions or want to call me out and discuss all your thoughts on these sites, feel free. Hi, GA Creative. So, back to Upwork and Freelancer. Upwork is... Ooh. Upwork is open to logo proposals being sent, and from what I've seen, often the client wants to see a rough to finished logo design in the proposal. Now, proposals can mean many different things. Proposals can just be the timeline and the service and going into detail on what you provide. It could be a rough sketch. It could be a collection of ideas you've gathered. But the fact that I personally saw on these sites, adverts looking from clients going, hey, I've got this job, I need this logo done, it's going to be $500. Like, for some people, that's 100% reasonable. And they go, oh, yeah, we'd like to see 3 logos in the proposal. So, you want me to do a full, or even just a rough concept 3 times and then send that off and still compete with other people submitting proposals? It's a contest in disguise. Like, it seems more professional, and it seems like there are fewer people doing that, submitting proposals to these clients, but it's still basically a contest. It's just not called a contest. And it just drives me insane. That someone can look at your work after you submit it and go, hey, look at me, I'm awesome, and then they just go, this person's gonna charge me half the price. It's like, oh, why is that the way these sites work? So, Freelancer, on the other hand, is slightly different. Freelancer allows people to put in bids with a rough description of the process they will provide, their links and their previous work and their portfolio, etc. Which is great. And for some of it, it looked like there weren't that many people putting in bids. So often it was the client puts in a description of what they're looking for, a time frame, and a minimum and a maximum. Cool. So it's more details than a lot of the sites are giving. And then people put in bids. You don't actually do any work other than the time to search for it and type it out. But a lot of these people seem to have copy-paste messages. And you put in your bid, and people check it out. And then from there, what they do is the client goes back through the bids, picks out who they want, often based on the price by the looks of it. So if whoever's closest to the minimum, say for instance your logo design was 5,000, they put out the bid, the minimum value for 5 to 10,000, and someone goes, I will give you unlimited concepts and unlimited revisions for 5,000. They're going to pick that person over the person who provides potentially a better service for 10. Again, it's very much trying to find the best price for what they want often, and I don't think it makes your design service feel like a product. And because your logo design or your branding can last forever potentially, you're providing the service, you're providing the professionalism to communicate with your client on a regular basis, to understand their needs and their requirements. But these sites don't do that. You don't get to know the client at all before they say yes. And often the client can provide a one sentence description of the brief, I'm going to pull up one now that I saw today. So I found this job that was from on Freelancer. It doesn't seem to have the date on it. I think it's closed. Yeah, it's closed. So this design is just titled Design Project. And the brief for it is, I need a logo designed. I have a logo and a company name. So I assume that means they have a logo idea. The employer is what the freelancer site calls their clients, is from Malaysia. And skills, graphic design, logo design. Yes, they're looking for a logo. The minimum budget is $50,000 US. Now, that's a lot of money. $50,000? But at the same time, I need a logo designed. Ooh, such a red flag for me. If someone came to me with an email that just said, I need logo designed, or I need a logo designed, I'd be like, I'll send them an email back trying to get more details. But if that's the approach, that for me is immediately a red flag, regardless of how much money that would be. So, and then the next one that I found on Freelancer again. I need a freelancer to help me with a logo design. My budget is around RP. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 5. God, I'm gonna have to actually point this and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 500 million RP IDR. Now, I think this is an Indonesian currency. And I think I converted it correctly earlier, but it comes to about £28,000. Now, £28,000 is about $35,000. For a logo design, again, it's a lot of money. But the last line of this brief was, I need this project done within 1 week. Which, if you get the job and you can do it in a week, like, fair play. But that is just another red flag for this kind of site. And this kind of thing just kept cropping up and up and up. And I mean, there were briefs on this on Freelancer from $10 to $35,000. But it's not a great way to find work, because you spend the time putting in effort to show your work off, to put in a bid for potentially no return. In my opinion, actually, before we do that, I'm just going to go back to the whole thing of these briefs. It's not healthy to try and bid on this kind of project. I mean, if a client comes to you and says, hi, we're talking to 3 different agencies right now, or 3 different designers right now. This is quite a big project. We'd like to see a proposal from you, and we'll go from there. Cool. Put your bid in and see where it goes. But when you're doing this to blind, potentially strangers on the internet who you know nothing about at all, you don't know what their business is, you don't know how you're going to communicate with them, you don't know anything about what they do or their company, it becomes such a red flag to even kind of put your name down on the list to do the work. Because, for instance, the logo, they might want a super illustrated dragon as their logo, but you don't do illustrations, you do abstract minimalism. Like, there are so many big red flags for this, and this kind of site I would personally avoid. But in comparison to Fiverr and 99 Designs, Freelancer and Upwork are better. They are more positive for designers, as there are less contests, but they're still kind of there in the background, and the client isn't coming to you. They're isn't coming to you for your advice and your expertise. They're going to find the designer that they feel is the best fit for them. And obviously, you're trying to appeal to every person who comes through. But I really would suggest having an actual discussion and relationship with clients, rather than them coming in and you throwing a bid down on a 1-sentence brief. Now, to wrap the show up with a little bit more positivity, let's take a moment. Just going to grab a drink. Okay, yeah, we've got about 5 or 7 minutes left. If you've got any questions, guys, in the chat, feel free to leave them. Thank you for all the hearts today. I hope you also liked the post that I put out earlier. If you haven't seen it, you can click on my profile either at the bottom after this is done and go and check it out. It's a little sketch, a bit more abstract than the last few. But yeah, I hope you guys like that, which is cool. How much wood could a woodchuck cut if a woodchuck could cut wood? Probably as much as he needed to make a living. And be happy, ultimately. That's how much, Adam. So yeah, also apologies for being late today. 5 minutes before I was about to start streaming today, I knocked a glass over on my desk and it completely covered my desk in water. So I almost didn't have a PC. Pretty funny. Yeah, so to wrap the show up, we're going to talk about now things I would suggest you do instead of heading to these sites. Now, I spoke about this before in last week's episode on social media, more in depth about what to do on different sites, but I'm just going to be kind of general here, and feel free to send me your questions or DMs and things like that. Right, also, before I jump in there, potential to have a guest next week? What do we think? It would only be available on YouTube because of the way Skype is and the way speakers work and stuff. But if you're interested in me bringing a guest on, another designer, and kind of interviewing them and having a discussion with them, please send me a DM, leave a comment now. I would really appreciate it. Any particular designers, feel free. Let me know. So I'm going to go into a bit more general positivity right now and talk about, it's been a bit of a sad kind of negative show about why I don't think these sites are good and why they're not healthy for you to try and build your business on. But what we're going to talk about now is more positive ways of doing that. More positive ways of, in the internet age, of building your business. And this is largely through social media and through your own personal portfolio and work and website. Get Aaron Draplin on. Mate, I mean, I'm sure he's a very busy man and I could probably ask him to, but kind of think a little bit smaller. Think a little bit smaller. Let's have a discussion with other designers rather than going straight for the big hitters. I want some practice first. Yeah, so I would start, rather than heading to these sites like Fiverr and Upwork and 99 Designs, I would start by taking all the work you've got at the moment, compiling it into a portfolio, and turning some of those projects into case studies and different types of content. Now on Instagram, on my personal... Oh. We've got 20 seconds remaining on the stream. I'm going to end it here, and just please, I'm going to restart it. So just join again after the live stream. Actually, or you can just hop over to YouTube right now and type in Connor Fowler. Instagram beeps, I will speak to you later. I'm not going to restart this. You can watch the rest of this VOD again later on. Have a great day. Shit. Cool. Hey, YouTube people, it's just me and you now. Because I don't want the live stream to delete itself, basically. So, more positive tips and things like that. Take the what you've got, build a portfolio from it. If you make logos, JR for instance, if you make logos, make them into a really pretty format, put them on different packaging, etc., etc., and make a logo folio. Put that on Behance. Then take some of those out, put them across to Dribbble and to Instagram. Show your process on Instagram. Make a full case study. What does the company do? What were the requirements? What were their needs? Where would it go? The different color schemes, all of that. You can literally find all of this information by typing in case study onto Behance. Go through, have a look at what you like, try and replicate that, and maybe not replicate, but take inspiration from that and create case studies and bigger project files. By doing so, you put yourself out there into the world, and clients who understand potentially the service or are looking for a new logo design or branding, etc., will come to you and go, hey, I saw your work on Behance. I really like this project you did for this farm. I'd love to talk to you about getting a new logo done. Rather than make me, I need freelancer to help me with logo design. My budget is X. Because you end up building a network with the people who find your work and come to you. Obviously, you can approach people online who may say, I'm looking for this person. You can say, how can I help? But it's much more personal. You can apply your personal professional touch to everything. There is no hidden behind a glass wall, for instance, a two-way mirror. Because, sorry, two-way mirror. A one-way mirror. Hi, Matt. I'm actually just about to close the show, so thanks for tuning in. But yeah, positive steps. Get your work on Behance, get your work on Dribbble, post your process on Instagram, do story videos, tweet a bit, connect with other designers on different platforms, connect with people on Behance who might be looking for work, put your name out there, run a blog, all of these other things that I think will potentially build your business. It will take a while, it will require patience, like it won't happen overnight. It's taken me a year and a half, almost 2 years to get to 10,000, let alone where my account's going on Instagram specifically, and you have to have the patience to do that. Don't undervalue your work. You're all worth more than $5 a logo. I hope you found the show useful today and it's actually helped you in some way, shown you my opinion and my discussion on these particular sites like Fiverr and Upwork and 99 Designs, and my opinions on the goods and the good side and the bad side of them. More negative in this show than the positives for the sites, but hopefully I've given you some advice that you can action on and actually build a better business on. I've been Connor Fowler. This has been the Fowler Hour. You can use hashtag Fowler Hour on Twitter with your questions, and I will be checking them every single week and going through as many as I can. Also, we are live on Instagram and YouTube every Wednesday at 8 PM GMT UK time, which I think is midday Pacific and about 3 o'clock Eastern if you're in the States. So I'm sure everyone else can work it out from there. The show will be up on iTunes soon. I'm getting around to editing the last episode, and I'll be editing this one, submitting it to go through iTunes, and you should be able to listen to the audio version there. Thank you all for tuning in. I've been C Fowler Designs, and you can catch me next week. Bye.